I'm going to make a whole bunch of you angry right now, and it's going to be epic. But first, let's drink some coffee. Coffee, the superior drink to tea. Alright, characters is one of those things that is just difficult. And the reason being is that it's subjective. What one person thinks is rounded and dynamic, another person might find unbelievable and unreasonable. And the point in case I'm going to do, I know you guys are going to get mad, I'm going to pick on Harry Potter. So, Harry Potter is a little boy who loses his parents when he's a baby. Then he gets placed into the care of his aunt and uncle, who systematically, mentally, and emotionally abuse him for 12 years. And despite this, he becomes a wizard, goes to wizard school, and has 0 issues. Like, there's no intimacy issues, there's no trust issues, he doesn't have social problems, because magic? I don't know, but when I read Harry Potter back when I was like 13 years old, when it first came out, I remember not liking the story because I didn't think the way Harry Potter reacted was reasonable. And I know I'm not the only person because there exists fan fiction where people change the epilogue, where instead of it being 20 years down the future, it turns out that the whole series was written by Harry Potter underneath the staircase in the little room, and he did it as a way to escape his mind because he's an unhappy child being abused by his family. And the sad thing is, while I love Rowling and I think she created this just amazing world, I actually sort of believe some of the fan fiction endings because it just seems more plausible. And I know I'm a muggle, I shouldn't be pooping on magic, but that's my take. So either way, no matter how you create your characters, you're not going to please everyone. And that's the point of this little story. So just good luck, because we're gonna need it. So let's go to shrink. Shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. All right, so when it comes to making characters on OneNote, what I do is I have my little section right here, characters, and they get a page. So all the minor characters go on this page, and as you can see, there's a lot of them because Giselle has a huge family. So all of these people, why aren't you going up faster? Yeah. Anyway, all of these people are just people who are in Giselle's family. And then we have this tiny little section down here for Zoe's family. And Zoe only has her aunt, and her aunt doesn't have too much information about her because I know I have that information in my head and I don't necessarily need to read or write it down to remember it. And all I do when it comes to my minor characters is they get a name. Sometimes it's a first name, sometimes a full name, sometimes just a first and last name, and they get like a little snippet. So as you can see, this person has a full name, but they're dead, so they don't get a snippet. And this person has a little snippet and a little title because he's the grandpa. And this is the father, the mother. And yeah, so it's really basic, it's very simple, because minor characters normally don't play a big role in the story unless, you know, their voice becomes louder and then they have a more prominent role. And then for my main characters, they get their own page. So for Zoe, this is her page. Let's zoom out so you can see the whole thing. This is the whole of Zoe's page. And the way I go about building a character is I first start with a name. So this is the first section that I fill out. Oops, let's go in. I fill out the name. How do I find a name? I go to behindthename.com and I pick a random letter, and the random letter that I did was Z, and I found Zoe, and I was like, oh, I really like that name. And once I have a name, I will fill out this section. And it's just the full name of the character, the meaning, name changes if there are any, reason for nickname, race, occupation and class, and social class. Because you need to know if your character's poor, or they're middle class, or they're super rich, because that's going to affect how they perceive the world. The next part that I fill out is physical description. So how old is she? And this is actually wrong because she's 25. I don't know why she's 19 there. And I have birthday, her astrological sign, her hair, like what does her hair look like? Is it wavy, straight, curly? Her skin type, her vision, shape of face, does she have any marks, predominant feature, height, weight, body build, mannerisms, and little details about her parents and siblings. Then once I have that, we start work on personality, where I answer questions like character's best trait, character's actual best trait, character's worst trait, character's actual worst trait, character's motto, and character's actual motto. Because there's a reason why you have the actual ones. That's typically we have a face and a persona that we present to other people, and only people who are close to us do we really let them see the real versions of ourselves. So that's what that's about. You know, hopes, dreams, desires, what's her religion and philosophy, her politics, her temperament, what does she do when she's angry, what does she do when she's happy, what does she hate, what does she love, what are her mannerisms when she's alone, mannerisms around the same gender, how does she act around the opposite gender, what are her hobbies, what are her habits. And then once I have all that information, I'll write a little snippet, zoom out, just about a little about her background, how she views the world, a little bio, if you will. And the last thing I do is I find references, because while it's nice to have a written form of what your character looks like, it's nice to have like a little picture of how you envision her. So I chose this actress from Rain, and I don't remember her last name, and I think her first name might be Anna. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's how I envision her looking, except Zoe has brown eyes, not blue. And then I do the same thing for Giselle. And this is his profile. So we have his name, we have the information about his name, his social class and all that, then his physical description went down here, then his personality, his favorites, which all of this is actually wrong. I don't think I mentioned that for Zoe, but I also named their favorites fruit, vegetable, drink, food, color, and music, but I accidentally put all of his stuff for things based on Earth and not his planet. And then finally, his little bio. And the picture that I chose for him is the guy from Heroes. Except his hair is wrong because he has long, long, long hair. And how you choose to do characters will be up to you. This layout, bio, like behind the name, physical description, favorites, personality, I consider to sort of be relatively basic to what I've seen other people do. I know that there are individuals who will write letters to their characters, or they'll write little short stories to really get in the minds of their characters, and whatever you need to do to make your character feel like a real person, that's what you need to do. Because if you're at a point where you're not feeling your character, like it still feels as if it's somebody that's made up, then you haven't done enough work on the character. And for me, like, Zoe and Giselle, they're real people. I know that sounds insane, but they are. I know how they would act. The story between them, their romance, like, it makes sense. Although it may not be the way people want it to happen, it makes sense for who they are because they're real people. Now, when it comes to the minor characters, I don't know that much about them because they're really not real for me, but my main characters, they are real. And this is how I make them. And I hope this is helpful because I know characters, they're stubborn. Sometimes they don't like to talk. And if you are experiencing that problem of a character not wanting to talk to you, I would highly suggest starting with a name and then just asking them questions and figuring out how would this character answer this question or how would they deal in this situation. These are things that work for me. And good luck, because I know you're going to need it because they're stubborn cusses, man. And tomorrow, we have the last part of the series where we're going to be talking about plot. And I hope to see you guys there. Tootsies, Mayapplesines.